Hi everyone, it's Father Ted here for Paradosi Online, and I wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I know that this video is coming out today on New Year's Day, and even though it's New Year's, we are still in the Orthodox tradition saying Merry Christmas, and also in the Orthodox tradition we say Christ is born, and the response is glorify Him, just like we say Christos Genate in Greek, and we say Doxasaton, which is just kind of like a Pascha when we say Christos Anesti and we say Alithos Anesti, Christ is risen, truly He is risen. At Christmas, we're supposed to say Christ is born, and the response is glorify Him. And we say this especially for the 12 days of Christmas, which is from December 25th, the Christmas day, to the Epiphany, the baptism of Jesus in the Jordan, on January 6th. So we should keep saying Merry Christmas and Christ is born for all the 12 days of Christmas, not just for Christmas Day or for a couple of days around that time. Today, I wanted to speak a little bit about the feast of St. Basil today, which is New Year's Day, at least in the Western world, and also it is the feast of the circumcision of our Lord Jesus Christ. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this and what it has to do with tradition, with Paradosi, is that we have a very interesting, difference between the Christmas season and gift giving in the West, like here in Canada and in America and other places in the West, and the East, Greece and other Eastern countries. But especially in our Greek tradition, the tradition of gift giving, how we give gifts and how we celebrate Christmas and New Year's is very different, or was very different in the old days in Greece. And so I wanted to speak a little bit about this. So you'll see that, in the church here, I have two icons. We have first the one icon, which is of Christmas, which is called the Nativity icon, which basically has the birth of Jesus Christ, inside the cave, in the manger with the Virgin Mary and the angels and everything. So that's the feast of Christmas on December 25th. And then we have today, which is January 1st, and we have the feast of St. Basil the Great, Aios Vasilios. This is St. Basil the Great. So why am I talking about these two things? So in the West, we celebrate Christmas and we give gifts on Christmas Day. And in the West, the famous kind of saint that brings gifts is Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas. Santa Claus is German, it comes from Saint Nicholas, Aios Nikolaos, as we say in Greek. And he is the one, as time went on, became kind of like the myth of the red suit and the big white beard. That is Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus in the West, in America and in Western Europe. But in the East, especially in Greece, Saint Nicholas was not the one who brought the gifts. It was Aios Vasilis, Saint Basil the Great, who brought gifts to the children. And so, in Greece, in the old days, people did not give gifts on Christmas Day. As strange as that sounds to us today, they did not give gifts or have Christmas trees, even though now in Greece they have Christmas trees. But in the old days, like when our grandparents were little children, they didn't have Christmas trees in Greece. They didn't have that tradition. The Christmas tree is a Western tradition. They used to do other things. So on Christmas Day, they would celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, and they would all go to church as a family. That was the most important thing. The focus was on the birth of Jesus. And it was on New Year's Day, on St. Basil's Day, when people would exchange gifts, and especially children would get gifts. Some of you might realize that this tradition still exists today, because in a lot of Greek households, parents tend to give a little bit of money to their children on New Year's Day. But that tradition of giving a little bit of money is originally from the idea of giving gifts on New Year's Day, on St. Basil's Day, right? So have you ever wondered that, when we see Santa Claus, when we speak in English in Canada, we say, oh, look, it's Santa Claus, St. Nicholas. But when you ask children, Greek children, who is that in Greek? And they say, Aios Vasilis, that's Aios Vasilis. So we call the same picture, the same person of Santa Claus in the red suit, we call him in English Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, one saint. But when we refer to him in Greek, we say, O Aios Vasilis. So it's kind of weird that we're calling the same person or the same kind of image by two different saints' names. This is the clashing of the two cultures, the two traditions, right? We have the Western tradition, St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, and we have Aios Vasilis, St. Basil, who is on today on January 1st. And so this is kind of one of the two different paradosis, the two types of traditions that we have here in Canada, where we have the gift giving on Christmas Day, and also the gift giving that happened in Greece in the old days on New Year's Day. So both traditions are very, very important, and it's important for us to know the differences, because it's important to remember that Christmas Day, at least for us as Greek and Orthodox Christians, is important to remember that it is the birth of Jesus Christ. That's the most important thing. That's more important than anything else, more important than trees and gifts and things like that, which are very, very fun, but not the most important thing of the feast. And it is New Year's Day where we celebrate Saint Basil the Great, who gives us the gifts and who was a person who did a lot of philanthropy and charity, and he helped the poor. And this is why he is one of kind of like almost a saint of giving, and why he's also the patron saint of giving kind of gifts to people, especially those in need. So it's nice to know the differences between the two, that in Canada here, we celebrate Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus bringing gifts on Christmas Day, but in Greece in the old days, in our Paradosi, in our old traditions, it was Saint Basil on January 1st, on New Year's Day, who brought the gifts. I hope this was interesting for all of you. Please try to keep the traditions alive. I hope you're enjoying Paradosi online this year. And we will see you all next week with a new video. God bless. And again, Merry Christmas. Christ is born, glorify Him, and Happy New Year. Καλή χρονιά σε όλους.